Hello, everybody. I'm sort of putting myself out here because I put the name of where I live on the video. I'm not gonna say it out loud in case it trips some kind of trigger because I tried to set up a Facebook page and I made a single post with like nobody had seen it. The page hadn't gone live and it had it had the name of the county where I live in the post and it got taken down before a single person saw the page for violating community guidelines. So I'm not going to say that word just in case. But anyway, I just went to a meeting of the county commissioners of the county, and there's just a whole bunch of stuff I want to say here. First of all, if you've never seen me before and you've joined because of the name of the county on here, you're watching, please join any organization. It just makes it easier to join with the collective to become a swell of voices. So I put it in the link below. That's just one organization. And if you just Google and do a search and just start connecting with people of like mind, there's an upwelling energy right now, a very powerful energy that is supporting us finding each other and connecting and communicating and joining forces basically. And I am very woo-woo, I'm very spiritual, so that's the kind of going out on a limb here. I grew up as a Christian. I took a 10-year journey, which I firmly believe was led by Jesus through Hinduism, Buddhism, Dances of Universal Peace, the whole shebang. And ended up back with Jesus in a completely different way, but I used to be a Democrat. I grew up Republican. Now I'm neither. All of our experiences we can't be painted with one brush or the other. And I honor whatever your complex, beautiful, unique journey is, and why you are watching this video. I honor that. Um, but anyway, I'm a psychic intuitive. I read energies, and when I went to this meeting this morning, it was mainly for the purpose. I had something to say, and I chickened out at the last second, and I didn't say anything because I didn't feel prepared, and I should have trusted the spirit to speak through me. So that was my bad, but I'll be more prepared for next week. But I was there to just observe the energy. And I want to speak to our community. First of all, the title of this video. I did a lot of checking in and meditating, and that's my dog rocking and rolling my little platform around. Um, I did a lot of preparation and readings into what's going on energetically in our community with this whole thing they were trying to roll out, which, thanks to our voices, they are no longer trying to roll it out. Okay, I believe that Larimer was a test site for the greater state of, I'm not going to say that either, because they wanted to find out if there would be pushback, and they discovered pushback very early on. And I think they're regrouping, re-strategizing, and I think they're going for the children. I think that's one of the big strategies that they're pushing for. And I would say that the vast majority of people involved in legislature and are good people who simply believe the crap. And we cannot approach them as though they're the enemy. That's the other huge message. So adding on to the very first message I got is that, so okay, my guidance told me, and I feel so clear about this, that like I asked them, okay, what do we do next? Because as me and my friends, I'm in a women's group, and we all support each other from all walks of life. A lot of medical professionals in there, a lot of intuitives, healers. Um, and what we got initially, the timeline I got is that if we keep pushing, we'll get this thing defeated by Christmas. And then a woman in our group said, "No, I think by Thanksgiving." And then we drafted a letter. I drafted a letter, and I'm not like part of some group or organization. Okay. I'm just, there's a wave of activism. So it's just like regular people. And what it comes down to is, my husband said this, if you know the Red Green Show, you know what community activism is? It's just a couple of folks talking to a couple of folks. It's about folks talking to each other. And that's really what it is. It's really what it is. And the spiritual battle where we become badasses is to be taken to the spiritual level, not the human level. Because anybody that believes the bullshit is just, they're not the bad guy. So, oh my God, Chris has been guided here to support me. So yeah, this is all about my local community. And Chris is in England, and he's part of a ground crew, really powerful spiritual group that I just kind of happened into. But as a concerned citizen, I realized that businesses didn't know what they were trying to pull off. And so I drafted a letter simply to inform businesses about what they were trying to do. And they had a mandate that they reinstated the end of October. And even the people that did it, I don't think they know what the plot was behind it, but my guides showed me that it was to create an incentive to join this program, where it's a voluntary program that you could join that would require everybody passing through your doors to provide proof of. Or you could just wear masks for the rest of your life. That was the other option. And no one knew about this, that they were planning to do this. So after we went around, my friends and me passed out 25 of these letters on Thursday. Friday, they overturned it and they said, we're not going to go ahead with it. They were just waiting to see if there would be pushback, energetic and otherwise. Our governor doesn't even support this anymore. And he's a screaming, you know what? So well, and I'm talking politically there, don't take that the wrong way. He's on the other side, and he's realizes that there's just no proof that this is really efficacious. So what I got is that we're gonna be able to push that down relatively easily, because everybody's rallying together now and like, "Oh, this is the next fence we have to push down," and the energy in this room to push that one down was massive. But what my guides told me is, don't go for another 10-yard touchdown, or don't go for another 10-yard gain, don't go for another first down, go for a touchdown, go all the way. You might think you're on the 30-yard line in your own end zone, but we're blocking for you. That's not the direct analogy, but they said, based on the weakening of the energies that have been holding this fallacy together, we have an opportunity to just go and they'll just blow over. We don't know our own power. And so I don't know how we're going to go about doing this. There's a congressman that I got the name of, that I'm going to contact and just see where are we regarding this. Because what they told me was to completely shut this practice down. Not the mandates, not the, business owners, not the getting Biden to shut down that program, which thank God the Fifth Circuit, that was upheld. And so now that doesn't stand. They're still pushing it. OSHA is still pushing it. Biden is still pushing it. And the DOJ is pushing it, and it's illegal. A federal judge just said, you can't do that anymore. So there are a lot of lawsuits going on. But anyway, I don't want to lose my train of thought and my spirit. I have to recenter. So I'm going to talk to this congressman about how to proceed with that. But what my guide's telling me, we need to get this outlawed. We can go for that. So as far as citing statistics and this, that, and the other, it's like, okay, yeah, but we need to go for the gold right now, because there's an acceleration of energies. Just look at the whole planet. Look at the number of the volume, the massive power, especially in Australia. Yes. Thank you so much. I can feel that, Chris. So the other thing I wanted to say is that, and I'm putting this out to John Kafalis and the commissioners. Sorry, I don't remember the names of the other two. Um, the two women did offer an apology for the email thread that went out that really vilified a man simply for practicing his own free speech. And they went into kind of victim mode and got all dramatic about it. And it went too far until the sheriff stepped in and said, hey, this guy is protected by the First Amendment. This email thread is over. So they formally apologized to that guy who put up a big trailer that says resist the fascists, which we all thought that was awesome. And what I perceived was this openness on a human level. And what I'm putting out to them, because there is a resistance now that is no more, and I can feel it in the field, that it is safe and easy to do this. I see your humanity. I see you. I recognize you. This side over here, the science that we support and that we believe, okay, that's our freedom and our choice. There's a side over here that has their science and policy is trying to be handed down based on that. It has been handed down since the beginning of this, March 2020, based on this science. Okay, we are a democratic society, and you have said that you're going to look at both. Okay, I just want you to look at the qualitative difference between the two and what has happened. This side over here that has the support of big tech, big pharma, CDC, WHO, the media, pharmaceutical companies. And by the way, CDC and WHO and the NIH are all compromised because they have a conflict of interest. They're in bed with pharmaceutical companies. Who are the stakeholders? If you follow the money, that is a direct conflict of interest, and they are not elected officials who have a right to dictate policy. Okay, come down a notch. What is the blowback? How are these people treating these people? They're censoring the hell out of them. All the power over here with big tech, big all that stuff. It's like, should that be allowed to happen? That a voice gets censored? Okay, and if you wanna call it, unsafe or whatever, that's bull. It's not unsafe to think, to research, and there's a huge body of information here. You go to pub.med, or I think that's what it's called. There's a huge body of information here. So I'm calling to you, human beings and legislators. Can we throw out whatever created that divisiveness, this adolescent energy, this adolescent level of maturity of attack and aggression and stuff? And the fact that this group has the power of the media and the tech and everything to subdue this side, can we have a new vision for our community? Can we open this up when it's just a couple of folks talking to each other? Can you agree to be open-hearted and open-minded like you said you would today, that you would be open to the data that we would present? That's a big offering. So, whatever created that crap, I just want to establish here and put out the vibration of respect, mutual respect, humor, good humor. John, I met you. I met you at a potluck at Dennis and Bailey Stenson's about 15 years ago, and I was like, "Wow, what a nice guy." My friend Michelle greeted you on your way into the building today, and kindly with love and tenderness, and you acknowledged that at the beginning of your statement. Someone greeted me by name with love because that mattered to you. And I believe that the majority of political leaders, commissioners, people in decision-making positions are human first, and we have to approach them on that level. And we have to invite them to a new place where we're not, most of the people that I talk to that believe the same way that I do at the end of the meeting, it was all output. They didn't even have an input channel to me to hear what I had to say. They were in such a place of fear and agitation and frustration that it was just da 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 da. And I honor you. I acknowledge the fear. I get it. Okay. But can we all dial it down? And when you realize your power, when you come to a conversation, realizing your own power and your own dignity to the degree that you're willing to acknowledge that in the other human being, we have to inject this conversation with love, respect, compassion, humanity, and form relationships. There's a guy that's been showing up to these meetings for weeks now. I'm not going to say his name, but you guys probably know him. He's coordinating people in their statements. You could see that he had formed a relationship with John, and they were laughing back and forth. He's like, I'm sure that he's going to. John, up at the commissioner, was saying, I'm going to state this because I believe in this science, but I'm sure that so and so over there is already sending me a link that's going to debunk that belief. And he said it in good humor and openness. And Nick was laughing. The other guy, sorry, I said his name. He was laughing, and it was this wonderful, it was a completely new and different atmosphere. And a card that I got this morning was new vision. And this is what we have the capacity to inject into the conversation. We take the initiative. We claim spiritual authority over this planet, over our country, over our states and towns in the name of love and light, not in the name of our own egos or selfish agenda. We reclaim spiritual authority in the name of source for the benefit and the love of everyone. So with that taking initiative energy, the very first card I got was for the commissioners, and if you're going to go to a meeting or something, is to call on them to listen to their heart, get them in touch with their humanity, And then the next card is innocence. I think that's something about recognizing the inherent innocence of everybody in a sense, and also seeing your own innocence and not painting anybody with this brush of they're bad or whatever. Don't go in with, an overreaction to being made feeling guilty. And, it's like try to get clean, get to that place of knowing your and their innocence. And then the new vision card came up, which I think that's the essence of what we're trying to do is inject a new vision into this conversation. The next line kind of is like they're kind of patiently waiting for this blowback to end. But the truth is, we're realizing our illusion. It's this card. Um, it's called the Dream card in Osho, and it's upside down, which means we have had an idealized vision of government and that they were helping us. Oh, thank you, Chris. Thank you so much. We've had this fantasy that they care about us and that everything is going to be okay. And well, we're a democratic country and, we've got elected officials and, we fell asleep. So then the next card is guilt. It's like, okay, we need to take responsibility and our culpability in letting that happen without being more involved, without policing our own government, without being of, by, and for the people. Is the government of you? Is it for you? Well, you have power over them because guess what? They're your employee. You pay them. You are the employer. We need to flip this and understand our responsibility and our power to engage and come from a place of, I'm empowered. I'm not a victim. I'm not threatened. I'm not scared. I'm empowered. It's a form of spiritual authority, which does involve some emotional maturity as well. So if you're getting triggered into a really emotional place with all this, you need to get that healed. Look at that. Do you want them coming from a place of victim establishing policy? Then you can't come from a place of victim to fight back. You've got to come from a place of personal sovereignty, and I'm calling you to do your emotional work, okay? That's my thing. That's what I do. If you need help with that, call me. We'll do a reading, okay? Um, okay, then consciousness, integration, and dancing. Oh, this is fantastic. So we call on them to hold the highest consciousness. We call on the higher self and the God light. Okay, so if this is an earth, if earth and human beings are where the battle is taking place now to win back our planet from dark, evil, service to self control, then it's people we're dealing with, human beings. And guess what? Every single human being has God spark, a higher self. Call on the higher self and the higher consciousness, even if it's reversed, even if they're disconnected, because this is reversed and this is them. So consciousness reversed, it means there's a consciousness there, and maybe it's just a little upside down right now. Maybe they've got some night side influencers who've been kind of screwing with them. And we have to call to them on the spiritual level. I've done this many times. You go to the higher self of an individual with whom you're having some kind of conflict or problem. You have a conversation with their higher self. You acknowledge the connection to God. You acknowledge the journey that we're taking on earth together. You thank them for the role that they're playing in your growth and development. The opportunity we have, okay, we are weak and lazy, and our muscles of activism and participation and sovereignty are very atrophied. They're just the weight, they're just the dumbbell. And I don't say that derogatorily. Okay, maybe a little bit of me said it that way. But people who aren't awake in your life, thank them. Thank them because as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. And we have those people have prepared us and steeled us and strengthened us and challenged us. I know I've done more inner child work in the last 2 years than I ever have combined in my whole life. The intensive I've gone through to heal my emotional part of it so that I can see the issue clearly. So then the next card is integration. Okay, we call on their higher selves and their God spark to awaken, to shuffle the truth to the top, to stop the negative influence, to take truth back, to get in their heart, to align with the truth, to get away from fear. We're calling on them to, okay, integration. So this is big, and I think it's kind of complicated, and I think it's what's coming. But the integration of people with each other, the groups, forming common ground, forming an alliance of initiative and all those atrophied muscles I was talking about. Those are necessary to create the new world and solve the problems and clean things up, fix the problems that we have in the world. And everybody's going to be called to their different thing, whether it's getting plastics out of the ocean, making sure African children have clean water, um, or organic gardening, or um, advancing zero point energy, Tesla energy. I mean, we got a lot to do. And what do we need to do it? Well, we need the capacity to organize. We need sovereignty. We need all these internal ingredients. And this is just our workout, our preparation for that much larger work of reclaiming the planet, healing it. This place where this was held is called the hearing room, and I accidentally texted to a friend the healing room. But that is where the healing is going to happen. When we can just have good conversations with other folks. Really, that's what activism really is just having a conversation with a couple of folks. It's not swords and pitchforks and torches and this energy of aggression. We take the aggression to the spiritual level and we route them and we address the demons on that level, but we don't treat people that way. Unless there's no humanity left. And then yeah, they're gonna be exited from this plane. And what's the last card? One of my favorite cards ever. Celebration. And I think it's reversed because it's not just my little group celebrating, it's everybody celebrating. It's everybody coming together. And when you look at Australia, what has happened? I listened to them singing a song of unity. We are Australia. We are, I couldn't make out any of the other words, but it was, we are united. We are Australia. And I just panned across the crowd and I was like, everybody's there. Everybody that represents every group on the whole planet, including all ages, developmental levels, spiritually, what I mean? Like everybody was there and they're like, we are Australia. And I think that eventually we're going to get to this place where the enemy is recognized for what it was and what it has been. And some are going to have a quick and painful awakening experience, and other people just woke up and got it and it was painless, but we're all going to be celebrating in the not too distant future. And the reason it doesn't make sense to ask about timelines and when is this going to happen is because we're the ones doing it. I had this moment one time. This was like 20 years ago, and my kids were little, and I was just leaving my building, and I got dizzy for a second, and all of a sudden I realized there was no future, there was no past. There was a co-creative flow happening that was everything. That's why there are no timelines, is because we're making it up as we go. To quote Indiana Jones, I don't know, just making this up as it go along. So this is my little contribution. And everything you think and feel and speak and do goes into that oneness, the fabric of this oneness. So even your voice in private matters. It does. Okay, so that's all I have to say. I am just absolutely filled with something that's making me cry right now. Thank you. I love you. Please share this far and wide. And if this gets taken down, I'll just start another channel. Okay. I love you. Bye.